Hello and welcome back to Moonlight Museum and of course 2 Point Museum. Where we last left off, we got a whole bunch of new exhibits in our museum, including a few friendly ghosts. For today, I think the main mission is going to be going for Curator Class 5, getting our total buzz up to over 1,340. But before that, I just wanted to take a quick minute to mention, if you guys haven't subscribed yet and you've gotten this far into the series, you should probably go ahead and do so. And if you want to make sure you absolutely never miss a video, go ahead and check out our Discord. Link is in the description. Nuz and Reldef have been doing a fantastic job cleaning up the server, making it look all pretty for you guys. But without further ado, let's get into it. And I think one of the first things that I actually want to do is potentially create some more rooms. So we need to provide a goth with their dream visit to unlock this one here. This one is currently unlocked, and I think I will go ahead and purchase it, start building that out, just because I don't want to end up filling this back wall up with exhibits or anything else and then deciding later that I actually want to expand into these areas. So I'm going to try and get these done as quickly as I possibly can. I might even pin that so that I can keep an eye on it. We have some janitors leveling up and things like that, but that's fine. I guess the first thing to do is check out what this is complaining about, and I've forgotten the keybinds. So it looks like this is maybe not the issue. Invalid collision with safety poster. With what? Oh my goodness, everything in this bathroom is broken. Is it this? That's fine. Okay, that fixed everything. Perfect. I don't know why that's the case. I know it's a small bathroom, but yeah, it is what it is. So I guess the first thing to do is go ahead and start a brand new This bathroom too? Really? Really? That's so annoying. And it's even more annoying because we can just pick it up and put it back down and it fixes itself. But expeditions. Let's go on a brand new expedition. So we just completed this location, Reaper Furrow, I should say. And the next logical step is to come down to the semi-evil castle and potentially encounter our first famous spirit. Now this is going to require 2 members of our staff, supernatural expert and a security guard, one of which has to have survival skills. Let's have a look at the events here. So afterlife experience is going to be counted immediately anyway. I think that should be absolutely fine. It looks like we need our supernatural expert to have at least 2 levels of survival skills, which is honestly kind of annoying. We do have Divina Catborn down here that can counter that, but they're not going to get any bonus survey level for that. And then we need a security guard that ideally has 2 levels of aerodynamics and a level of strolling surveillance. Unfortunately, that's not something we have until Sam Moose at the very least levels up. We can go ahead and remove one of them. That is, of course, just going to mean we're going to have to take the first aid kit rather than the survey scanner, which means this location is going to take a little bit longer than I would like. And we can't do Speedy because we currently have Divina Catborn here and they do not have pilot wings. So it looks like we're doing safe expeditions here for a little while until we get this up to level 3, and then we can switch to detailed and try and get pristine exhibits in all of those locations. But while this is going on, we should probably have a look at what is happening in our analysis room. So Quenzel Drum can do analysis. They won't analyze anything that isn't botany related, so that's going to be absolutely fine. As for who else I want in there, I'm gonna probably say, wow, that's a tough one. Who do I want in there? We could potentially put Camilla Hogwash in there, get her leveled up a little bit more, but that doesn't seem right. Maybe we go for Ariana Tickle here, get her leveled up even further, potentially give her survey skills 2 or something else that might be beneficial. So for right now, we'll send Ariana Tickle in there and we'll just continue deconstructing anything that we have in our inventory. And that should be okay. Everything else is working pretty well for the meantime, so I'm going to come back as soon as this comes back and then we'll figure out what we want to do from there. Alright, so we have the knight that would have potentially benefited that squire, but I guess that's going to be okay. For right now, I'm going to do the exact same thing that I did with my other ghosts. I am going to send him to the inventory and we'll deconstruct him. And then when we get our pristine version, we'll go ahead and set up a dedicated room for that. But I'm going to continue on with a couple more expeditions here for a little bit, and we'll be back in a little bit. Alright, Lord Dennis Blaggard. I believe this guy is our famous spirit. And yes, he is, because he's under famous spirits. The title Lord Blaggard has been passed down for generations, along with the family motto, Huzzah! The reigning Blaggard is Dennis's great-great-great nephew. How nice. So I do want to go ahead and place him, but I need to figure out where he wants to live. So if we grab him, he wants to have anything warm, have an olden dummy, have the Blaggard's blade, and share a room with a Blaggard knight. That is a lot. I'm going to sit him down there for a second just so that we can have a look at him. He is going to want Dark Age decor. Traits are unique. There's only one of him. And slows peace decay of other spirits. Not bad. So currently he doesn't have anything warm. He doesn't have the Blaggard's blade, which is an exhibit that I imagine we have to find probably at that same location, and share a room with a Blaggard knight. How is your patience? Your patience is fine. That's okay. So yeah, I guess we just need to put like a fireplace and find a Blaggard knight at some point. And I think honestly he can just live in this room. So if we jump in here, grab the edit button and look for some kind of a fireplace. Where can this sit? Where indeed? We could potentially replace the swords there. They could potentially move over actually. If we go for that there, click that, move that, rotate that over to there, and then grab the fireplace right next to the steel, that should be good. And do you require anything else that we can actually do? No. So you're as happy as you can potentially be right now. You have a warm place to sleep, so that's going to be fantastic. That is officially our first famous person. And that has unlocked... Oh, display a poltergeist room with 150 buzz. Okay. That has unlocked the Familiar Falls, which is Sunken Spirits and Cursed Objects. Looks like that is potentially the next location. I'm hoping... Oh, Famous Possessions. So that's probably his blade, right? And we can go ahead and set up a new expedition to that location to start looking for that. So we'll go ahead and do that. And before we continue on, I think I would like to do a little bit of expansion. I feel like over here is potentially the perfect place to have a little cafeteria, especially if we're going to slowly be working our way down here. I think that makes sense. I'm thinking we do more of these rooms like towards the center of this, have exhibits around the outside, and I think it's about time that we experimented with the cafeteria. So I'm going to sell these because they might get in the way. Grab our rooms, and we don't have a lot of money right now, but the cafeteria, we can technically afford it. I might let the game run for a little bit before we go ahead and do that, just to get a little bit of extra cash in our pocket. That seems like it might be a good idea. It shouldn't take too long. We are still making decent money at the moment, but we'll come back once we have a little bit more cash. There it is, the Blaggard's blade. Again, this comes pristine and with full knowledge, so that is absolutely fantastic. We just need to find a place to throw this in the room. And honestly, maybe we replace the sword rack with that. Maybe that makes the most sense. So I'll throw that down, get rid of that, pick this one up, and throw it down. Does it have a display block? No. So it can live somewhere in there. I think that will look okay. Make sure that everyone is still happy in here. You are very, very happy. That is fantastic. And you just still require a Blaggard Knight, which I hope we'll find somewhat soon. I believe, was that the one that we just deconstructed before? I think it might have been, but we wanted to wait for the pristine version of that. Speaking of things that we wanted to do, we now have a little bit more cash on hand. I don't remember how much this costs to actually run. Looks like it's 12,000. I think we can swing it. We'll send them back out and then we'll get started on the cafeteria. And as I was looking at it, potentially back here makes even more sense, just because people are actually wandering back here a little bit. And then we can sort of have this wrap around. If we want more staff rooms, we can expand this building into the back here. And I think that will work. So I'm thinking the cafeteria can be back here somewhere. So we're going to pause the game. We have 37,000 in the bank account. And we can go ahead and build out a little bit of a cafeteria. I don't know how big this should be, how big this needs to be. I don't know anything about it. I'm going to go right to the edge there. That seems like a decent size for a cafeteria. We're going to have an entryway there, and this is the serving station. What else do we have? We have a tray bin, we have tables, small cafeteria table. Okay, so we don't need a ton. I'm thinking we can buy food on the way in, and then, yeah, this is probably going to be far too large, but I think it'll work out. If we offset this there, we can potentially get 3, nope, needs to be offset a little bit more, something like that, and then that kind of works like so, and like so, and sort of just alternate between the two. I think that'll give us enough space. And is that, yeah, that's even. Perfect. That is 100% what we like to see. Now that is definitely a large cafeteria. I don't know if this is required, considering we only have 73 people in the museum at any given time. But we also need a tray bin, and I imagine that would fit in nicely right around, well, actually we might end up removing this table because I don't think that's going to work out, but we can put down, I don't know, 2 tray bins at the entrance there, along with a little bin if it'll fit in. Of course it won't. We can throw the bin down this side though. That'll be fine. Hopefully people use it. And then I'll also throw a bin on either side of the entrance at the outside, and hopefully that is okay. Now I imagine these windows will probably eventually get deconstructed, but for right now I think it's going to be a good idea. And the only thing left to do in here is go ahead and decorate it out. So we'll be back in a little bit. I think that something like that should work quite nicely. We need to, of course, make sure that we have enough assistants that can work in the cafeteria. And it looks like most of them can, so that's not going to be a problem at all. We might go ahead and hire a couple more just to make sure that we are absolutely fine on that. But for the most part, I think that is going to be absolutely fine. We'll hire 2 more assistants, get them in, continue on with our expeditions, double check on this in a little bit. We will have to go ahead and fix this flooring up just a little though. So this is probably going to go somewhere to there, and then we'll have something similar. How wide is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. Something like that. And they will continue through into the other parts of this building once we build them. This still doesn't have a goth with their dream visit, but that's going to be okay. And I think the only other thing that I want to do here to make this look a little bit prettier is go ahead, grab my floors on the favorites, grab our triangle mode, and just cut off those corners a little bit so it's a little bit more of an entrance into there. And of course, also go ahead and paint that wall because it was not painted. All right, so we're going to continue on with the expeditions and we'll be back in a little bit. All right, so we have a knight. Is this a Blaggard knight is my question. I don't think there's room in here, but we're going to throw him down anyway. Apparently there was. And then if we have a look at this guy, yes, that does count as a Blaggard knight. So that is good to know. He is a knight, and oh, his trait is a Blaggard knight. He is not pristine though, so I am going to return him to the inventory and deconstruct him, but I just wanted to double check that that is where we actually got that from. Looks like we have our first people wandering into the cafeteria too. I also didn't realize that we potentially need to change some values here. So I'm going to raise the food price up to like, I don't know, 250. I think people are going to be fine with that. And then we can actually choose the food options. So we have bone broth, which does 10% buzz. We have dough cake, which adds 11% tip to the food bill. I don't know if I want that. And jumping jelly, which increases entertainment. I honestly think, oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Keep that. For the cookie dough though, I think I would like more buzz just in general. Just in general. So maybe we go for ghost pepper chili, seems to fit. Bone broth definitely seems to fit. And I think jumping jelly also fits. Yeah. Otherwise it's a milkshake bowl and I don't think I really want that. So we're going to leave it as that. We'll keep an eye on the prices in here just to make sure that people do think it's fair. It looks like they do. We have had our first sale, which is very exciting, and we can continue on with our expeditions. Apparently, my marketing campaign got cancelled. That's strange. So I'm going to go into the subcategory, make sure this is a elaborate supernatural campaign, increasing the chance of guests arriving with a favorite subcategory in the supernatural theme, and adds 30% buzz to all the exhibits. Why can't I continue? Why can't I proceed with that? Are you working on something? No, you're not. Do I not have the cash? No, I don't have the cash. Green light fee is 12,500, so it must have cancelled itself when I just ran out of money. I guess that makes sense, but that is something that I definitely need to keep an eye on if we're going to be doing that. So now I can go ahead and continue that and continue on with the things that we need to do in here. Alright, we have another dilemma. Let's go take a look. Speaking to the squire, the team enters a clearing where the spirit of a squire stands dancing on a stump. I mean, we have to dance with him, right? And we get the nether blessing. We've seen that before. It just gives us a temporary boost to all of our things. Absolutely fantastic. We are going to continue on. We are struggling for money a little bit. I'm thinking potentially we have too many assistants. That might be one of the reasons. It could also be because we are running that marketing campaign non-stop and it's costing us a lot of money. But for right now, I think I'm just going to fire my worst assistant. And sorry about that. Potentially, yeah, I think we've got enough security guards, not too many. Janitors, on the other hand, we have 4 currently available. That seems higher than we need it to be. So with that being said, let me just quickly check their job assignments. So yeah, we can hire Kat, Lance, or Beatrice, and they will be absolutely fine with that. I'm probably going to fire Kat first, just because she doesn't have the mechanics skill, and she probably is costing us a little bit more than the others. No, she's worse paid than these guys. I might fire Kat first. You are fired. And I will also fire Lance. Sorry about that, guys. But we need a little bit more cash flow coming in to sustain ourselves just that little bit more. Because currently we are still making money. It's just a little bit slower than I would like it to be. And I think our museum will run fine just with those guys, especially considering how many of our janitors are actually available to do absolutely anything at a moment's notice. If we look at the job assignments, yeah, they can do whatever they want to. They really don't have that many jobs to do, just clean up our museum. We are slowly but surely working away at this location. It is a little bit slower than I would like, again, because of how the money is coming in. But we are pretty much keeping up with being able to run these pretty constantly. Go for the first aid kit. We are currently at level 2, so we need to run another, 10 before we get this up to level 3, and we can start looking for pristine versions of both the knight and the haunted armor. So we'll be back once I've done that. Right, I just noticed that with some of the decorations that we removed to put the cafeteria down here where it never actually ended up being, we removed the decoration bonus from the soundstage. So we should probably go ahead and fix that up real quick. I think we just had like a couple of different things over on this side here to fill out this space. Something a little bit smaller. Yeah, that'll do. Something like that. Should get that back up to level 5, and everything is now happy. Apart from, of course, our famous guy who is still waiting for a knight to join him. The other thing that I potentially want to do is our cafeteria is really not being used very much at the moment. And I believe that is because we have vending machines all over the place and our guests are basically using them instead of our cafeteria. So I'm going to go through and remove a bunch of our vending machines. I don't remember where I placed them all. Was they the only vending machines that I actually had in this museum? That doesn't sound right. I'm sure I had more than that. I guess I didn't. Okay, well, that's done. So I removed those vending machines and we'll see how that goes in terms of people using our cafeteria a little bit more. This guy needs to use the bathroom. He should go ahead and do that at some point. He might be our only tour guide at the moment though, which is why he is doing that. We also have a security inspection coming in. I can't imagine they're going to be particularly happy with this. We have not set up a camera room yet. We only have 4 security guards, so we'll see what they say, but I don't think they're going to be particularly happy with how we're handling things at the moment. But for right now, we're going to continue on with the expeditions, get everything running, and I'll probably show you the results of that security inspection as well. One other thing that I wanted to quickly do was jump into the workstation. So currently we have 4 interactive exhibits. Apparently, if you give kids 5 interactive exhibits, they donate a ton of cash. And we actually have one that we can go ahead and build for this museum, which is the ghost dusting demo. People have been sweeping up ghosts for over 100 years and it's never been this easy. We jump in at the trivial end with a no-lose ghost dusting demo. It's going to take 60 days to build and $17,500, which is basically all of our money, but I think it's going to be worth it, and I think it's going to get us more money in the long run. We also had the security thing finished, but I didn't see a mail for it. I might have skipped over it. I apologize if I did, but I thought I only skipped over the monthly cash, so that might still be coming in at some point soon. There it is. So the Department of Culture is profoundly troubled by your museum. Here's wishing you better luck on next year's inspection. Until then, let's pretend we're not associated. Okay, so the pros were none, and the cons were not enough security cameras and no camera room. That is definitely something we should do quite soon. That is going to cost us a $5,000 fine and get our museum rating impact down by 25%, but you know, it is what it is. The school also came to visit. They didn't give us any rewards. That is also what it is. So we're going to continue on ignoring our security because so far we haven't had any problems, and basically keep leveling up this location to try and find the pristine quality versions of those things. You can see we are in the negative at the moment because of that fine, but it's going to be okay. That potentially will unlock the other sponsorship for us. No, not quite. Looks like these are still working though, so that is good to see. Just want to check on those every now and then because sometimes they do bug out a little bit. Alright, our ghost dusting demo is complete and it's honestly not too big. I feel like right next to the cafeteria might not be a bad spot to have this. Kids can sort of do a line, a loop back around this way and look at all the museum artifacts. I don't mind it. I don't mind it. I think, do I want it centered on this wall? Yes, I think I do. So this just needs to have a supernatural exhibit nearby. Well, that's annoying. I mean, eventually it will, right? But for right now, it doesn't. So that's not going to be full. But we can, at the very least, decorate this out to make it look quite cool. So I'm thinking we do something like 2 archways on either side, maybe some candles in front of said archways, like so and like so, and that pretty much gets it all the way up to 5 and very minimal things. But of course we will need to go ahead and grab ourselves another donation stand for this one. That can live right about there. It does not require a info stand, and that is now 5 interactive exhibits for the kids to use. So hopefully our donations now go through the roof. If we have a look here, average donation is currently $3.90. We'll check that in a little bit and see if it goes up. The other thing that I actually want to do is go ahead and actually unlock the large donation stands. I completely forgot that these existed, and they're probably worthwhile because our donation stands every now and then do get full. So I'm going to remove this one, even though it's full. That's going to cost us a little bit of cash, and replace it with a much larger one. Maybe we have these in like the middle sections. I think that sort of works. We do something like that, and just sort of place these around the place where I think it makes the most sense. Maybe one in the middle over here as well, if we can get this to line up nicely. Something like that. And potentially we could also remove all of the small ones. I don't think that's such a bad idea. They're all going to be full, and we're going to lose a bit of cash doing so. But this will give our security guards less to worry about. Let me just make sure this one is actually connected to that. It is. We can remove that, just because I don't love the look of these small ones. They sort of just fill out the place and block access to the things a little bit more than I would like to. I would also like to recolor these all to be a little bit more, you know, a little bit more subtle. Can I recolor this so that it's a little bit more subtle as well? That's probably a little bit dark. But yeah, that looks a little bit better to me. Do we have a second one of them? I thought we had a second tour stand. Maybe we don't. Okay, that's fine. And we'll recolor this one as well. Not that color. Whatever color this is, please. Add that in, and that color. And I believe everything is still connected to donation stands. Yeah. And the only ones we have left are back here, I believe. But that should be okay. We'll keep an eye on whether or not people are sad about the fact that they don't have donation stands nearby. But having only 4 rather than, you know, like 8 for our security guards to work around is probably going to benefit us in the long run. And it looks like our average donations have already gone up. I don't know if that's just a fluke or not, but they have. So take that how you will. Alright, and with this expedition complete, we should now officially be at level 3 with a chance to get max quality pristine. Of course, we don't. So it's going to take us a little bit longer to get these other 2 exhibits all the way up to pristine. I believe everything is researched to full though, so that is fantastic. As soon as we get these, we can go ahead and just throw them down. I have been doing detailed expeditions just because we don't have the option to do speedy. So safe takes 12 days, detailed takes 24 days, but we get double the survey level, so I just don't have to micromanage it as much, and it also doesn't cost us as much money. We were always going to get the number of exhibits we needed to have full knowledge anyway, so I'm not particularly concerned about that. I do think we need to expand this museum further into here, just so that people use our cafeteria a little bit more. Currently, no one is working it. Hopefully they go and do that soon. Hopefully they go and do that soon. If they don't, we might have to go ahead and rehire some of our assistants. But for right now, we should be okay. Alright, looks like Ariana Tickle has leveled up, and I honestly don't know what to give her next. I am going to quickly just have a look at the world map, see if there's anything that we can potentially counter with her coming up. This one needs analysis, level 12, and customer service. So we could potentially throw analysis on them just to get rid of this. That might be a good use of them. This one requires analysis level 2. So yeah, that might be something that we work towards with that particular person. I think that is what we'll throw on them. They're definitely an all-rounder at this point. If we have a look at them here, we can go ahead and throw analysis on you. And then with the last level, I'll probably throw another level of analysis on them just to get the... Well, actually, can I cancel that? Can I cancel that training? Where are you? You. Can I cancel that? Please cancel that. I don't want that anymore. No, doesn't look like I can. Doesn't look like I can, even though you haven't actually started doing it yet. I can't cancel it. The reason that I wanted to is because if we have a look at our experts, I'm old Greg here actually has a level of analysis already, so we could have thrown analysis level 2 on them. But I guess it is what it is, and we can't really do much about it now, unfortunately. Can I, like... No, I don't think there's a way to cancel that training. I send you on a break. That didn't cancel it. Damn. Okay. Well, it is what it is. We're going to have 2 people with analysis. Not much we can do about it. But we do officially have our first pristine exhibit of the episode, apart from, you know, the things that always come as pristine. And we can finally go ahead and throw this down. Now, this is probably just going to live somewhere over here. I think if we do one there, we can potentially fit something else in the corner. I don't know if that's going to work the best. Potentially we move it across to this side, but I think it's going to be unhappy, and we save this for something a little bit larger. Now, you are going to want to be near a catacomb wall. We can absolutely do that. We'll get this decorated out, and we'll throw some perks on it. And we'll be back in a little bit. The only other thing that I want to add over here as I remove this last small donation bin is another large donation bin of some description. And where this goes, I don't know. It can probably live around about there. It's not going to block too much, and it should cover that entire area. I think that will be okay. We'll continue on with the expeditions for now and get this going to the final item, which is going to be the ghost that we still need. So we're going to send this guy out. Davina Catborn goes back out with Sam Moose, and we'll get a first aid kit and a detailed expedition, and fingers crossed we get ourselves a pristine ghost. Another thing that we should potentially think about is the fact that we don't really have very many chairs in this museum. We have a couple over here, but people are getting a little bit tired as they come around the bend. So I'm thinking we can potentially add a couple chairs either side of this situation, something like that, and they might be a little bit happier with that. Oh, there's another donation bin that I missed. Get rid of that. We'll grab another chair and we'll throw these down right about there. Potentially a little candle in the middle for some mood lighting, and I think our people will be a lot happier with that. We can also probably do the exact same thing on this side. Grab ourselves a candle for a little bit of mood lighting. Throw that down there, and our guests should be a little bit happier staying in the museum for a little bit longer. In terms of our average donations, they have definitely gone up since we added in the new ghost dusting demo, so that's fantastic. We are continuing to analyze pretty much everything that we get our hands on just to level up our people as fast as possible. The perks are also nice, and we should continue to throw these on our people. So I'm going to throw a knowledge boost on there, and I don't know what I'll throw on for the last one just yet, but we're crossing our fingers that a pristine ghost appears in this crate that's about to come back. Looks like we still don't have anyone working in the cafeteria. I just want to quickly take a look at my job assignments for my assistants. Yeah, everyone's just busy. Everyone's just busy. I mean, we have 3 people working on the ticket booth, 2 people working in the gift shop. I think we just need to go ahead and hire another assistant and call that what it is. So we have Jasper here has nimble and loyal, which is not bad, and you donate litter to the floor. So it's definitely going to be Jasper. We'll throw you down because that is currently our only source of food. So I definitely want someone working in there at all times, but we're going to continue on until we find this ghost that we need. And I almost missed a dilemma, but we have another speaking to the squire. I wonder if we get something else if we laugh with him rather than dance with him. So we're going to try it out. Looks like we get a 10% XP boost, so I'm pretty happy with that. Pleased that you like his performance, the squire finishes their dance with a flurry and a flash, disappearing in a puff of smoke. leaving your staff feeling richer for the experience. Amazing. Sounds perfect. It also looks like we have another penny pincher that we can go ahead and throw on display right down here. I believe, where was it? Somewhere there. Should work fine. That should get maximum things. And it also looks like our cafeteria is now nice and busy because we were starving our guests. So hopefully that starts bringing in a little bit more cash. Hopefully covers this guy's salary, which is only $4,500. And hopefully you can get through this line as well. Hopefully. We'll see how that goes. We'll keep an eye on the cafeteria, make sure it is working the way we want it to. Did this cancel again? Yes, it did. So we want a supernatural campaign, elaborate, repeat. Okay, perfect. And come on, ghost. We have a ghost. Please be pristine. Yes, we finally have it. So we can go ahead and place him down right in there. That gets us our museum star increase. Congratulations, you did it, whatever it is. We'll continue on, and this also gives us Curator Class 4. That is $5,000, 100 kudos, and museums can now receive 6-star ratings. Absolutely fantastic. The question is, at this point, do we want to continue on with this museum, or should we move to somewhere else? Before we figure that out, let's go ahead and make sure everyone is happy in this room. You are now maxed out. Absolutely perfect. You are a famous person, giving us 125 buzz. If I can click on you, you are not happy. You don't want lights. Are there lights in here? Oh, yeah, they are. Hopefully no one else wanted lights, and that just works. So now you are happy, and you are happy. So you are my Blaggard Knight. You want 3 pieces of Dark Age decor, share a room with Lord Dennis Blaggard, and no lights. We can absolutely do that. You guys are all very happy now. This room, in of itself, that's not how you say that, has 250 buzz, which is fantastic. That location is now finished, and we need to receive 4 more stars across our museum. So to get the next star here, we'd need to display 2,144 total buzz, turn a quarterly profit over $5,000, that should be easy, and reach museum level 24. So I think for the moment, because I'm quite enjoying this museum, I will go ahead and start working on the next location, see how close that gets us to that buzz requirement, and we'll go from there. So can we do this location successfully? Looks like we need an expert with analysis, so that is probably going to be Ariana Tinkle, because she has survey skills, pilot wings, and survival skills. That'll remove both these middle events, and then our assistant just needs to have a friendly thing. That's fine. You're a globetrotter, so that's going to increase happiness. You have a photographic memory, which I would actually prefer, but you don't have the trait we need. So I will send Barry Solomon on this expedition. That's already going to give us a survey level of plus 35, but because we don't have to counter any other events, we can also send the survey scanner, which is going to increase this by 85%. So we're only going to need to do like 2 or 3 expeditions here to get that done. We can also do it at speedy, so it's only going to take 5 days. It will cost $14,000. We could also do detailed and get 95. No, I think I'm going to do speedy, and that'll be fine. We'll get 30% extra XP, which is fantastic. These guys are going to be very happy, and we can start looking for sunken spirits and cursed objects. So hopefully this location doesn't really take too long. I'll come back once we've got this leveled up to level 3 and we start placing down our exhibits. In the meantime, I'm just going to deconstruct everything that I find to get the knowledge for everything at this location. Now, I am going to go for detailed on this because I believe, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that if we get to level 3 on the expedition itself, that counts as having max quality pristine. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's the way it works. I'm also not 100% sure if we need the survey scanner to do that. If we send the expedition journal, we will get up to level 3, so we can save ourselves a survey scanner for next time. This is, of course, going to take an additional 22 days, but we will get the +1 exhibit quality from this, and that is basically all we are looking for. Now, I'm going to have to do more expeditions to this location, even if we get 2 pristine versions of the exhibits in the next 2 tries, just so that we have enough to deconstruct them. This leveled up so quickly that we just don't have the things that we need. But everything is going pretty well. We are still capturing all of our thieves and things. We haven't lost anything yet. Touch wood. Hopefully we don't, but I'll come back once this is starting to produce some pristine exhibits for us, and I can show you placing those down. And there it is, our first pristine version. We can go ahead and place them down. I actually don't know if there's room. Yeah, that room's full, that room's full. So we're gonna have to build a new room for this guy, and the question is where? So this is actually gonna take a little bit of doing. I want to edit this building rather than build a new one because you can't merge buildings later on. So this is going to come all the way out to here, basically fill up this entire thing if I can. And go all the way up. I don't have the money for that. But that's fine because, I'll tell you why that's fine. That is fine because I am going to just remove this for the moment, except that is going to expand this room out. And then I'm thinking we'll probably have exhibits on this wall and ghost rooms in the middle is the sort of plan that I have. So I'll jump into a quick time lapse as I get this all laid out and tidied up, and we'll be back in a little bit. I think it's going to look something like this, and then we can go ahead and grab ourselves a poltergeist room. We do have enough cash for this, and how much of a gap did I leave? 1.5. So we can do the same thing here. 1.5 gap, 1.5 gap, and we can build these rooms out. These were 3 by 6, I believe, and I think that was a decent sized room for these guys, and that is basically where that is going to live. And potentially we can go ahead and build a whole bunch in here if we, how big is this? That's 12 to there. Okay, so one's going to have to be smaller unless I combine them into like long rooms. But we could potentially, actually, hold on. If we did that and then found the middle, not like that. How big is that? I can't read the number. Tell me how big the number is. Okay, I don't know what I just did, but it's not what I wanted to do. How big is that? That is 17. So half of that is going to be there. So if we took out those, nope, that's not the middle. That's 100% not the middle, right? That's the middle? I think that's the middle. Okay, so that makes this room 7 by 3. And I think that works out better. And then we're going to have like a walkway down the middle, and that'll be all good to go. With that being said, I'm going to put the doors on either side. Well, actually, probably just in the middle, to be fair. I don't think people actually go in these rooms apart from our experts, so having multiple doors probably isn't going to be necessary. But that is going to be our room. I'm not going to decorate it yet because I want to put the pirate in there just to double check what he actually wants. So he wants, no, that is hotel room decor. He wants sunken decor, which we can absolutely do. Gives him a nice little pirate room. And then what else do you want, my friend? You want to have music. That's about it. Have any music and no fire. So we can go ahead and decorate this room out, and we'll be back in a little bit. And that should just about do it. That will give you full buzz. Of course, we still need to get some more knowledge. It looks like there's actually room in this for 4 ghosts, which is odd because I thought they took up a 2 by 3 space, and this is only, this is only 7 by 3. So maybe I was a little bit wrong with that math, but that should serve you quite well. We will need to go ahead and get some info stands over here. Make sure that you are satisfied in that regard. And then we will also need a donation booth somewhere. I can't imagine this one reaches. No, it doesn't. And in terms of donation booths, maybe we do it on the end. I don't like that location for it. Where is this one? Maybe we could line it up and have it in the walkway. I don't hate that. Yeah, that might work. I think that'll do for now. So they are officially in, and we can go ahead and continue on with our expeditions. I caught it this time. The marketing campaign got cancelled immediately because we did not have enough cash. I need to make sure that I'm always keeping 12.5 grand on in our bank, because otherwise I'm going to miss that and we're just going to not be doing that for a while. And that is going to be very, very annoying. But we now have our haunted toilet at pristine level. It is also fully researched, so we can go ahead and place that down. And honestly, I think this can probably just live like right next to this guy. Somewhere about there. This is actually rotated the wrong way, so we'll throw it down. Yeah, I think there will work just fine. It should already be pretty much happy, but we will go ahead and throw a little bit more decoration around this just so it doesn't look quite as empty. I think we can throw some luggage by the door over here. We probably won't have anything blocking that door, so this can probably actually move over a little bit. Give ourselves a little bit more room. We probably will require another info stand for that. I think this technically reaches, but I like to have more than we need just to make it look that little bit better. And I'll throw down some more decorations and be back in a little bit. And that is a haunted toilet all decorated out. The only thing left to do is go ahead and throw some perks on that. We have plenty because we've been deconstructing absolutely everything. We don't have any more ghosts to deconstruct, but at this point we can now go ahead and take Ariane and Tickle and basically whoever has the customer service skill and start doing speedy expeditions here, because we no longer need them to be pristine. We just need to grab 2 more of those ghosts to deconstruct, and that will be all complete. So we'll be back in a little bit. And that should be the last pirate we need. At this point, I am not going to start a new expedition. I'm just going to wait for this one to deconstruct, throw this pilot in, and then we'll have full knowledge and pristine versions of absolutely everything in our museum, which is the way that I like it. We also successfully did the penny pincher thing. That is fine. Our money is coming in a little bit quicker now. Our average donations are up to 571. Our museum actually hit 95% rating at some point. I don't know how it did that. I think we got a boost from something. Everyone's pretty happy. And the next thing we need to do is worry about Curator Class 6. And that is where I would like your input. Let me know down in the comments if you would like us to stay on this museum for a little bit longer, or if we should explore one of the 2 new museums that we haven't actually started yet. I would love to know your thoughts, and if you do want us to move, let me know where you want us to move to. This is almost done, and as soon as it is, we will have full knowledge on absolutely everything. Do remember that the Discord server has gotten a major upgrade, so if you're interested in joining that, there is a link down in the description below. And this is now finished, and we officially have all of the knowledge on everything we currently have in our museum. We're up to level 30 in Enlightenment for Supernatural, which is absolutely fantastic. And everything is going swimmingly. But that is where I'm going to leave it for today. So if you are enjoying the series, make sure to go ahead and leave a like and a comment down below for the sake of engagement. Consider subscribing if you haven't. Become a Golden Panda member or above if you would like your name in a museum in this game. But until next time, happy building, happy curating. Bye guys.